Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Joel here with Manchester News. So it's just past 11:30 here Canadian time, so it's 7:30 over in the UK. We're gonna get ready to bring in Big Steve here shortly, so I'll just wait for him to join here. And then we're going to be talking Manchester City. A lot of stuff to have to handle today as usual. Just like last week, a lot of big things start happening like literally before I start doing these Instagram lives. So we got the De Bruyne contract situation, which has been settled. I'm sure it's a big relief for Manchester City fans. We got yesterday's performance by Manchester City. We'll break that down with Big Steve. A 2-1 win over Borussia Dortmund. And we'll have a little look ahead to their Premier League matchup with Leeds United. They came away with a draw last time, 1-1. We'll talk about what Leeds might have done effectively or what Man City maybe didn't do so effectively last time around, what adjustments they need to make and so on. So without further ado, I see Steve in here right now. So let me just bring him into the mix and then we will get this under.
Hi, mate. You okay?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good.
Awesome. So just like last week, we had some big news happen again today. I'm sure probably not a surprise given the way contract situations were going on with De Bruyne and the fact that he was handling it himself. So give me your take on a 2-year extension, Kevin De Bruyne with Man City now officially until 2025.
Yeah, it's good news. Obviously, he's one of the best players in Europe at the minute, in the world. It was sort of nobody really wanted to talk about it. We sort of knew his contract was being renegotiated, but no one sort of wanted to ever think he would ever leave. And I just think it's a massive sign for the club and everything we're doing that a player of his calibre, he come out today and said he's the happiest he's ever been. His family is looked after in Manchester. He's playing the best football under the best manager. And it's a massive statement for everyone to know that Manchester City, they mean business. And you look at the players that come here, they stay for a long time. It's a nice place to work. It's a nice place to play football. And we've really worked hard to make it that way because there was always this factor in England that big players wanted to go to London because Manchester always rains. And, you get these little foreign players from these countries where it's really, really warm. And you wonder why they sign for Manchester City when they come every day, it's raining, snowing. So we got the weather against us all the time. But the place, obviously, is a great place to play football right now. And, no, everyone in Manchester tonight is happy. The way it's going at the minute this season for Man City fans, we're over the blue moon with it all, to be honest.
So basically from everything that I was following with De Bruyne's contract negotiations, it seems like he was pretty much doing the entire negotiations on his end himself. Do you think that helped out a little bit, the fact that there wasn't an agent or a mediator to really talk up his client and raise the price and maybe force the hand of City's front office?
I didn't actually know that, to be honest. I always thought he was represented by a small agency in Belgium. I've seen some guy usually tweet little things about De Bruyne, but if he's done that, maybe that's the start of things to come. Maybe instead of these agents getting this massive chunk of money, maybe that could go to the players. I mean, a lot of players use personal friends or they use family members as agents to keep the money in the pot, which makes sense. But if he's done that, fair play to him. He's obviously didn't need an agent, and there's people in the comments saying his agent's in jail. Don't know if
is that right? Okay.
But
well,
I'm sure somebody would need to. I'm sure Kate would get another agent tomorrow. But no, fair play to him if he's negotiated himself.
So you talked about sort of the family relationship that's been going on at Manchester City over the last few years. Kevin De Bruyne was very vocal about his special relationship with the manager Pep Guardiola. How much credit does Pep Guardiola deserve for keeping a guy like Kevin De Bruyne happy and wanting to stay at Man City?
Well, obviously, I mean, Pep Guardiola, he gets grief of people just, they don't know football, you know what I mean? They think, oh, you get a load of money and this, that and the other. But you've got to understand, you've got to play a right style of football for these players to enjoy it. You know what I mean? If they don't enjoy playing for a manager. You look at Mourinho, for example, now at Tottenham. The place looks like a morgue. The players don't look happy. The fans are definitely not happy. Mourinho don't look happy. That's your difference in the way your chemistry is with your manager. And you look at Pep, and when he's needed to be ruthless in this club, he came in, he got rid of Joe Hart. He's got rid of Aguero this season. He's got rid of Yaya Toure, Zabaleta. And at the end of the day, when he needs to be ruthless, he's ruthless. But when he needs to change a player or get the better out of a player, he can do that. I mean, you look at Raheem Sterling since he joined. Took his game to the next level. You look at De Bruyne, he was labelled a flop, a reject, Wolfsburg. Why are you paying that kind of money? Look at him now. You look at people like Zinchenko, who's been brought in for little money, been turned into a left-back, playing in the best team in Europe. You know, so Pep Guardiola's a massive factor in it. And I just think he installs a discipline around the place that you never see any players breaking any rules. You never see any players getting off-field problems. I think that the Etihad now, Manchester City now, is ruled with an iron fist, and I think it's all down to Pep Guardiola and his discipline.
If you take away Kevin De Bruyne over the past 5 seasons, I know he's into his 6th season right now with Manchester City. If you take Kevin De Bruyne out of the equation, he's not in the mix over these past 5 seasons. How many of those Premier League titles and FA Cups do they win without him?
It's hard to say, you know, because this season as well, we lost De Bruyne for a period, and it never really affected us. We carried on where we left off. So I always think that we have a squad that is capable of stepping up when we are missing big players. And so I don't know. I obviously, he's been instrumental in winning them things. So it's hard to say in hindsight. But I do believe that the way the people at Manchester City, the way we've got the squad is if you get your chance, you've got to step up and impress. And I think you're seeing it with Phil Foden this year. He's got his chance finally now, and he's doing really well, and he's going to get in the team. But I don't know, with De Bruyne, he's just De Bruyne. He's been awesome for us, so it's hard to say really.
We're going to touch on Phil Foden later on when we break down the Borussia Dortmund game from yesterday, but I still want to get on a few little contract situations before we switch subjects here. And there's obviously De Bruyne's situation is handled now. There's a couple other guys who are still up in the air. One of them is Fernandinho, the current captain for the team. Do you see him staying beyond this season?
I mean, it depends on the player as well. I mean, he's been a great servant for us. He's played a few games recently, and he just looks like he's 25 years old again. Whether that's because he's not played as much, so he's saving him. But I think Fernandinho offers a lot off the pitch, and I think he offers a lot in the dressing room. So I'd like to think if we could offer him some sort of coaching role and keep him around the team and keep him in the academy or around Pep's setup, I think he'd be a great addition to it. I actually think he could probably do one more season, but we'd have to just say, look, you're going to be a bit part player like you've done this year. But there's been no talk of his contract, so I don't know. He might want to go to Brazil and have a swan song out there. He might want to go to United States and play in New York City, somewhere like that. But whatever he decides to do, obviously what he's done for Manchester City, go with our blessing.
If he's on his way out by the end of this season, do you foresee Kevin De Bruyne being the captain next season?
I did do 100% up until Diaz signed. And then the way he's playing and the way he's leading the team at the minute, I think if it went to a dressing room vote, maybe Diaz might get it. But yeah, you couldn't argue with Kevin De Bruyne. He's been captain a few times and he leads by example. It depends what Pep wants. You know, on the pitch, you've got Diaz, who's vocal. I mean, De Bruyne's vocal. For a creative midfielder, he gets very annoyed when things don't go his way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'd take either De Bruyne, or we'll have De Bruyne as captain, we'll have Diaz as vice captain.
So the next player sort of being talked about now about what's going to happen to him after De Bruyne signed is going to be Raheem Sterling. His contract is going to be talked about. It's up in the air whether or not he's going to return or not. Given the caliber of strikers that are available this summer, the ones that we've talked about on a few occasions now. Do you see them re-signing or extending the contract of Raheem Sterling? Because he's clearly somebody who's got a lot of favor. He does play a lot under Pep Guardiola, but with the strikers available, is he still coming back?
Well, I mean, Sterling's been great for us. He's improved. He's a great player, and we'd always obviously want him. But I was saying this the other day to a friend of mine. If he wants to, he has talked about playing for Real Madrid and people like that. Listen, if I don't want to lose him, I don't. But if he decided he wanted to go and we could get big money for him, I don't think we'd miss him that much. I think we've got options now with Ferran Torres. We've even got options with Gabriel Jesus can play wide. And I think if we could bring in 100 million for Raheem Sterling and offset a bit of money on that, on the big Norwegian fellow from last night, I think I'd take that.
Absolutely. I know he hasn't gotten, last year was obviously his best tally, I believe, in the Premier League. He got 20 goals. He was nominated along with Kevin De Bruyne for PFA Player of the Year. Has he taken a step back, or is it just people judged him last season just from the goals and they figure, okay, well, he doesn't have as many goals, so it's been an off year for him? Has he been judged fairly this season for his play?
Sorry, it broke up a bit.
Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, he's still added goals and assists to us this season. He's still played his part in what we're doing. I just think what Pep's done this year is a lot of rotation, a lot more. And I think there's an element in the team now where your place is not 100% guaranteed, where previous seasons there were certain players who probably knew they were going to play. But I like to see it. I like to see the players' reactions. I like to see how they react to not playing. I mean, Sergio Aguero at the minute, he's not getting the minutes, but he's behaving unbelievable. Sterling, to his credit, unbelievable. And that's one thing, you never, ever get people going to the press or sulking, throwing the toys out the pram. I think they've all got to knuckle down. And I think Raheem Sterling, we don't want to lose him, like I said, but if we did, and we could use that money elsewhere, I think we've got enough players in the locker to cover him.
And now we're going to switch gears and let's talk about one of the many players that is potentially linked to Manchester City. But first, we'll discuss yesterday's Champions League first leg quarterfinal. Manchester City comes away with a 2-1 win over Borussia Dortmund at the Etihad. Give me your overall thoughts on City's performance yesterday.
I actually thought we didn't play bad. I thought we kept the ball well. We dictated the game. But I think we was a little bit cagey because you know they've got Ireland up front and because you know they can break. I think we were a little bit cautious of that. I thought Dortmund was so unlucky with a goal that got disallowed. It was an absolute unbelievable error from the referee. It was a goal. So they were really unlucky. And if that happened to us, I'd be fuming. But on the overall balance of play, I thought we deserved it. And I thought that the goal at the end for Foden was just deserved because I thought he was man of the match for me. But yeah, the tie's definitely not over. To go to Germany, we need to score. And I think that we will score because I think Dortmund are going to have to come out at us. I mean, once they got the goal yesterday, I thought they thought, right, we can sit back here, we can get this draw and we can get the away goal and get back to Dortmund. But obviously now with a late goal from Phil, they're going to have to come at us in Dortmund. And if they come at us, they're going to leave gaps and I think we'll punish them.
Now, you mentioned one of the controversies, the disallowed goal, which I am in complete agreement. I even as a goalkeeper myself, I didn't see any contact whatsoever in that particular play. So I think that disallowed goal on Bellingham really should have counted. That's still kind of a head scratcher. The other one was a little bit before that. I think personally the right decision was made in that penalty call just before that play. But what is your take on that particular play? Should that have been a penalty? Because it was initially called a penalty, then VAR came in. We know how VAR can be a little bit screwy ever since it's been brought in. Was the right call made at the end of the day?
Yeah. I think it wasn't a penalty. Rodri went down like he'd been shot. obviously he clipped him on the knee. I don't know why he's holding his face. I don't like to see that. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone does. It's not good. And I hope someone's pulled him to one side and said, you know, we're not about that. And like you say, we got away with that Jude Bellingham one, and it was crazy that I don't understand why he's blew the whistle straight away, because then VAR can't look at it. So if he lets him score and then they blow it, I think they come back and then they vote that's a goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other puzzling thing about that particular play is that why did Emre's caution still stand in that particular play? Because it's obviously there was a little touch on the knee, so you have to think, okay, if he's gonna keep the yellow card, then it should be a free kick or something in favor of Manchester City, right? Or a penalty or something. Yeah, go ahead.
That because yesterday I had a bet. I had £50 on 2 bookings, yeah? Emre Can and Jude Bellingham. So I won 850 quid yesterday on them 2 bookings, yeah? And Emre Can, the betting company were pending it. So somebody emailed them. And what actually happened is, if you watch the game, when he does the foul, he doesn't book Can. But when gives the penalty, Can runs up to him and says something. So he actually booked him for dissent, which was after the foul. So he couldn't rescind it. He wasn't booked for the penalty. He was booked for dissent. So he got in the ref's face. Referee backed off, booked him. So if it had been for the foul, they'd have come up and rescinded the card. But because it was for dissent after the incident, obviously you can't tell the referee to F off or anything like that. They didn't rescind it. So that's why he got booked.
Fair enough. Okay. Yesterday, Phil Foden got his first goal since February the 17th. How big of a relief was it to see him get on the score sheet after so long?
I think it's not really all about goals with Phil. It's great for him to chip in with goals, but I think if you look at his performances, they've been next level. And yesterday, I think first half he was quiet, and then once he got into confidence and decided he was going to go at that fullback, he tore him inside out. So Foden's, we forget how young he is. You know what I mean? He's playing in one of the best sides in Europe. There's no pressure on Phil. He's just got to keep doing what he's doing. He brings the energy. He brings that Mancunian sort of spirit to the team where he never gives up. And like I say, he's deserved it, because he could have gone out on loan. He could have said he wanted to move to another club. He could have said he wanted more money. He hasn't. He's stuck there. He's watched De Bruyne. He's watched David Silva, and he's stayed with the team. And now he knows what you have to do to be a part of that squad. And he's getting his just rewards now. So he's had a great season for me. Great season.
I agree there's no pressure on Phil Foden, but I remember writing a piece for Manchester News maybe a couple of months ago about the lack of starts that Phil Foden has been getting. And I was breaking down some of his statistics this season, which are pretty remarkable. So he's got five game-winning goals. He stepped up in the big moments. A lot of those have been in those Elimination Cup ties, and we've talked about how in those games, those one-off games are very tricky, because, you know, all it takes is like that team to show up on that day, or Man City to lay an egg or whatever. So he scored 5 game-winning goals. He got the equalizer against Cheltenham when it looked like all hope was lost in that particular day. Does Foden deserve more starts? He's only started 6 of his last 11 games in all competitions. Does he deserve more playing time?
I don't think so. I just think he's doing well to be that young age and to be in this team. You're doing well to get any minutes, and at the end of the day, you know, he's these bigger players than Foden who are being left out. Look at Aguero. Does he deserve more? Sterling. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, no, I think he's getting ample minutes. He's only young. He's growing into it, and I think, you know, Pep's doing right, because we're still in every single competition. So to play to weekend and midweek without a break, it's you know, it can be tiring. So I think Pep's done a great job rotating them. So I think Phil will be happy with what he's done this year.
Now, a couple of players that Pep Guardiola singled out yesterday. I'm reading his quote post-game yesterday. He talked about Joao Cancelo and Rodri not being clever receiving the balls in positions. Was their performance lacking yesterday, or was it just a question of like playing a team that is a stronger opponent, probably the strongest opponent they've faced in the Champions League so far.
I think with Rodri, I think when Gundogan plays as well, he's not as effective. But I don't think he had a bad game. And then with Cancelo, obviously he prefers to be right back, I think, and coming into midfield from that side. So I do get it with Cancelo. Sometimes it's frustrating. We keep the ball for so long and it'll get to him and he'll just like knock it long. And you think, I'll just give the ball away. So I can understand where Pep's frustrated with it. But, you know, we won the game at the end of the day. So I ain't going to criticise anyone really, other than Edison for being stupid and nearly costing us a goal. But other than that, no, I wouldn't dwell too much on that. I just think, you know, we just got to get the job done now in Germany.
Do you think the absence of Jadon Sancho had any kind of an impact on the game? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great player. You know, I wish we still had him, but unfortunately we don't. I'm sure Dortmund would rather him be playing. But it is what it is. Injuries are injuries, you know, and that's what happens. But Dortmund are out of it. If you'd have said to Dortmund, will you go to Manchester and lose 2-1, bring them back to Dortmund with 2-1, I think they'd have took that, to be honest.
And I think Jude Bellingham stepped up pretty effectively and was a pretty good presence in addition to having Haaland over there as well. So let's talk about Haaland as well, the most sought-after striker coming into this summer. How would you evaluate Man City's defensive work on the Norwegian?
I think we kept him quiet, really, but I don't think the way we kept the ball, he did a lot of running off the ball into like endless channels and wasn't getting anywhere. But the thing is, you seen how dangerous he was. He had one through ball, he knocked Ruben Diaz flying, and he clipped it, and Edison did a great save. So he could have just had one chance all game and buried it. You know what I mean? But he's, you can see why everyone wants him. I mean, for a big fella, the balls were getting knocked into him, and he doesn't take too many touches. He just takes one touch, lays it off, and he's moving all the time. Then you've seen the burst of pace and the strength to do that to Diaz. So everybody wants him at the minute. He's okay. He's brilliant. But the one thing I don't agree with is the way his dad and the agent Raiola are doing some sort of magical mystery tour where they're landing in different countries and they're sort of touting him around like he's a piece of meat, trying to get the auction up. Don't think that goes down well for clubs. Clubs don't like that, I don't think. I think they'd rather just have, you know, they don't want people turning up, looking at the club as if it's, you know, not good enough for him. I mean, I remember Paul Ince doing it with his son. He took him to Inter Milan and did give him a tour of the San Siro, and then he never signed. And look what happened to him. I'm not going to say it's happened to Ireland, but I'm just saying, you know, don't do all the charades. Let's just, you know, we know people want him. Just keep your mouth shut and get the deal done. If Man City have got to be in there for him, 100%.
So why are clubs like Barcelona and so on agreeing to meet him and doing all that stuff? Is it just because he's so highly touted and they know that they have to like meet him in order to like sort of bow down and meet any sort of demands they might have?
I think years ago, if Barcelona or Real Madrid wanted you, you didn't have to go on a tour. They just turned up. They give you the shirt with your name on the back and they said, we want you, you sign for us. And then they made a decision and signed. I don't think Barcelona and Real Madrid are of that same stature at the minute. I think they're shrouded in financial ruin. I think that the UEFA's bottled it, this financial fair play, now changing the rules to suit them. And I think they've got to drag them players over there now and try and persuade them that Barcelona are the same Barcelona, which I think if you go there, I think, and you look at it, I don't think they are. So, you know, it is what it is. But it's definitely to get the price up. If they're pictured landing in Barca, then they go into Madrid, then they fly over to Paris Saint-Germain, and then they go somewhere else, Man United. It just keeps the price up. Because if you want him that much, you're going to get a bit panicky, and then zeros are going to start adding up on his contract.
I want to touch on one last thing with the Champions League before we shift gears to their upcoming game this weekend. An area of concern for Manchester City in some of these opening legs, particularly their games at home lately, has been the amount of away goals. We've seen them crash out on a couple of different occasions in recent memory due to away goals. We saw them lose to Monaco in 2017 as a result of away goals. I believe they lost to Tottenham a couple of seasons ago in the quarterfinals as a result of away goals. They have conceded, not counting the one-off game which was played at a neutral site last year against Lyon, they have conceded 8 away goals in their last 5 knockout stages. Again, that's not counting last season's match with Lyon in the quarterfinals. Is there just a fear of not conceding at the Etihad, or what is it about their play at home that seems to cost them later on in these matches?
I don't know. I just think the Champions League as a whole has not been a good stomping ground for us at the minute. I just think we're a different kettle of fish this year. I just think our defensive record throughout the group stages has been awesome, and I just think we've got the goals in the team to turn anyone over, even if they do score and we do concede it. You know what I mean? It's just we've just got to play our own game, keep doing what we're doing. Not worry about that. I think there's a different mentality about the squad now. I think Lyon last year, everyone was really, really nervous. I don't know why he was playing Lyon. We should have no disrespect to Lyon, but we should be beating them. And then I think what's happened is this year we've turned it around a little bit, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. And instead of the Champions League going gung-go, trying to take everyone out straight away, getting caught on the break, conceding stupid goals, we're actually thinking about it a little bit more. And only time will tell. Only time will tell.
So this is not to take anything away from Borussia Dortmund, but obviously we know very well the fact that Man City has crashed out at this stage 3 consecutive seasons in a row. Is getting beyond this point, could this be more of a psychological battle for Man City? Because obviously everybody in the press has been talking about, they can't get over this hump. They can't get over this stage of this competition. Could that be one of their bigger battles, is just getting over that hump of that psychological thing of we can't make it past the last 8?
Well, we got there with Pellegrini to the semi against Real Madrid, but I went to the game in Madrid and it didn't feel like a semi-final. It just didn't feel like one. It was weird, but I think Pep knows what he did wrong last year. I think we all know what he did wrong. He overthought it. So there's no excuses for me this year. I don't think there's any excuses. I don't think any team in that Champions League wants to play us. They don't want to come anywhere near us. So instead of acting and overthinking it and trying to worry about the teams that we play, I think he needs to set us up so the other teams worry about us. And then I think if we do that, I think we'll win it. I've said it from this season, we'll win the Champions League, and I hope I'm right.
Well, I think the one trophy that is not in doubt is what we're going to talk about right now, which is the Premier League. Another match coming up this weekend against Leeds United. Leeds United is basically being kind of a sort of a Jekyll and Hyde, or you see one of two things from what I've seen with Leeds United. They either score a lot of goals, they can win games like 3-4-0, but then they also lose games. And it always seems like it's one of the two. What Leeds United do you expect to show up this weekend?
Well, they did well against us early in the season. They got a draw at Ellen Road. We were still going through that sticky patch, so we just signed Diaz. I think he played in that game, and it was a good game. We should have beat him really, but we didn't. I think Leeds this season have been a breath of fresh air. I think they've came to the Premier League and played their own way. They've not come to the Premier League try to survive. They've come with a style and a philosophy of the manager where they're going to play their own way. And I think, they're going to get results, and they're going to get hammered, and that's what's happened. I mean, I think they got 6 put past them at Old Trafford, so it is what it is. But if they come to City weekend and try and play that way, they might get another spanking. But Bielsa and Pep, it's like 2 chess players, isn't it, going at it. They're very, very deep and tactical. I'm expecting a tough game. But I just think we just at the minute we're unstoppable, and I think Leeds will feel that at weekend. I think we beat them.
Is that surprising that a side coached by Marcelo Bielsa? I mean, he is, he's known as a really intense tactical person. Is that surprising to see how bad defensively Leeds United is? Or is it just, they're playing a whole new type of competition in the Premier League, which they weren't playing in the Championship last year?
The Championship is a tough league. I mean, you can have it's a different way of football. It comes at you thick and fast. The grounds are a lot more narrow, really intense places. It's not a great place to play football, to be honest. But they got out of it, so they're into the promised land now. They've better pitches, wider pitches, nicer place to play football. And I think it suits them. You know what I mean? It suits them, and they've done well this year. They've done well. They've not blew the roof off, but they've not been poor. They've just been steady. And I think any Leeds fan would have took that beginning of the season. And I think with if they can add 3 or 4 signings this coming summer, and add to that quality they've already got, I think they'll have a good side next year.
So last time around when City faced Leeds, I believe it was only City's 3rd game. You talked about it was Diaz's first game with the side as well. They were still kind of trying to get their feet wet, I feel like. And do you think City was just still finding their identity at that point of the season last time out?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Because you see what happened a few games after that. We went on an unbelievable run. Don't get me wrong, with a different Manchester City now, and we've got the bit between the teeth. And I think Leeds are going to expect it. And I think because we need to get the job done. At the same 4 more wins, I think it'll be 3. 3 more wins is done. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I expect it. We just got to go there now and get the job done.
Now, the player on everybody's mind when they look at Leeds United, for understandable reasons, because of the amount of goals that he's chipped in this season. He's tied for 4th, I believe, right now in goals in the Premier League, is Patrick Bamford. He's got 14 goals this season. What's most impressive about him?
Well, to be honest, he's been around for a while. He's been at a few clubs in the Championship and that. And he's always been okay. But I think this season he seems to have found his home in Leeds, and I think he's impressed everyone. He's worked hard, and listen, he's scoring goals, and he should have been in the England squad. If you're picking an England squad based on form, he's got to be in it for me. I mean, I don't think he's quite top 4 level, maybe even top 6 level striker, but I think he's a decent all-round Premier League striker, and I think he's had a good season. Let's see if he can carry it on.
Is there anything, what does City have to do to slow him down?
To be honest, I don't think he's going to get a sniff. I think Laporte and Diaz, they'll sort him out. You know what I mean? They played against Haaland the other night, so Bamford to Haaland, there's no comparison. Watch him go and score now. You've said that, Joe.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So you were talking earlier about, Bamford being able to find just the right team. I think that can be said for a lot of footballers these days. Sometimes you need to find the right team, the right coach, the right system in play. And one guy that I think has found it very effectively this season has been Jack Harrison on loan from Man City to Leeds United this year. Is there anything you've seen about Harrison's play with Leeds United that has surprised you that maybe you didn't see during his time with Man City? He's still with the club on loan, but is there anything different you've seen about his game at Leeds?
To be honest, he's proved he can do it in the Premier League. He's a steady Premier League player. Is he Manchester City good enough? I'm sorry, no. Does he even make our bench or the second string? No. So if we can sell him for good money, I think that was the plan with him always. I think we got him back from New York to make money on him. And that is exactly what they're going to do. And I think Guardiola is a friend of Bielsa. And I think they negotiated some sort of deal this year to get him at Leeds without having let them spend enough money in that. So I think he'll sign for Leeds, and I wish him all the best. I think he's done really well. He's come to England and he's found his team, hasn't he? So fair play to him.
So absolutely zero chance whatsoever that Man City is going to take him back.
No, no
Fair
chance.
enough. Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty much in agreement with that. The other player that kind of stands out to me for Leeds United is Rafinha. If it's not Bamford, if it's not Harrison, Rafinha is the other one. What's most impressive about when you see a guy like him?
Great little player. Got a great name as well, and you always want that foreign, like that Rafinha name. You know, you want that. He's a typical exciting player where the Leeds fans will love him. You know what I mean? Every team should have one of them players. Someone who you can. He's like a hero. You know what I mean? Someone with that name the kids can look up to and stuff. And he's come in again. He's scored some great goals. He's very tricky. He works hard. He's been linked to Liverpool. He's been linked to a few other teams. But yeah, fair play to Leeds. They've obviously found a little gem in him. And yeah, I think they need to keep him 100%.
Last time around, I was actually very surprised to see this because I think it's very rare that you see Man City first off. When you see a team have more possession than Manchester City over the course of 90 minutes, it's very surprising. Last time around, Leeds United had 53% of the possession. They had 7 shots on target. City only had 2 on target, but it didn't really seem like a terribly dominating performance. I know possession is, I think, an incredibly misleading stat. You can just kick those passes around from the back, and that counts as like the amount of possession, and that's not really like creating anything. Was it just like the energy of Leeds coming up from the second tier to that, and then still early on wanting to make their mark, or how was Leeds able to play that effectively against City?
I think the game was quite. The weather was horrendous. I think it was raining, and it was a bit of a bad game. But no, I just think we were finding our feet. I don't think possession was the forefront of our mind then. I think we were set up differently. I think we were set up a lot more expansive, and I think we were going a bit more direct. But obviously now, the possession will be. They'll try to keep possession, and they'll get caught. And it'd be interesting to make a note of the possession stats from this Saturday coming and see how it change.
So I talked about earlier how Leeds United concedes a significant amount of goals. I think they've given away 48 this season, somewhere in that ballpark. So they're in the top amongst teams for goals conceding. City's in the other department. City doesn't concede a lot of goals. Do you foresee the fact that Leeds has a significantly weaker defense? Do you see, maybe an Aguero or maybe Ferran Torres or some of the guys who haven't gotten as much play maybe get a chance at this game?
Yeah, I can see Aguero starting. I can see Fernandinho starting. I can see Sterling starting. I can see Laporte coming in the defence. I can see Mendy playing as well. So I think there'll be a few. Changes. Yeah, definitely.
Last week, I thought Mendy probably played the best game I've seen him play this season. Obviously, he's had lots of injury issues. Is that the best you've seen him play against Leicester City last week?
I mean, I went to Monaco when Benjamin Mendy played for Monaco, and he destroyed us. And he was rampaging down that flank, whipping it in. He was deadly. The guy's had 2 knee operations in the last few years. He maybe lost a little bit of pace for me. He's cut out a lot of the antics off the pitch, what were getting him in trouble. And I think it was good to see him score, and it was good to see what it meant to him. And I think if there's a position at Manchester City which anyone can take, it's left back. So the amount of money we paid for him and the ability we know he's got in him, he needs to make that left back position his own. If you've got midfielders playing at left back ahead of you, then you've got a serious problem and you need to address it. So I hope he gets his fitness back. I hope he can get his left back spot back. But if he doesn't, I think Pep's given more than enough time, and I think he will be replaced.
Final question for you this time, Steve. Guardiola talks all the time. I feel like almost every press conference he talks about, okay, now it's on to this game, now it's on to this game, and so on. How difficult is it, though, for a club like Man City who plays so often every 2 or 3 days, they have another game. A lot of times it's either an elimination game. How difficult is it to switch your focus? Is it as easy as Pep Guardiola makes it out to be? Like, all right, this game's over. Now we got this team in 2 days' time.
I think it's easier when you've actually got things to play for, and you know, like in the Premier League, we've got to get them wins to win it. In the cup competitions, you've got to get the wins to progress. I think it's easier. If you're floating around mid-table or you're not really competing and you've got a few games, it's very easy to be on the beach. And I think a lot of players can switch off. So I think the way Pep does it, he's obviously done it at Barca and he's done it at Bayern. He knows that winning mentality and he knows how to get players' mindsets correct so you can compete at the best in everything you do. And I think that's another big credit to the manager. I think he doesn't let players get carried away. You don't get any of them talking in the press that what they've won or what they're going to win. You don't get any of them on social media getting excited. They're just knuckling down. It's like a machine. They're just knuckling down and they're just moving forward at such a pace. We're just getting things done.
Steve, pleasure to do this with you once again. What do you guys have going on this week with the Big Six podcast?
Yeah, we've got the Big Six podcast on Turkish's channel Friday at 10 o'clock. We are also, we're on Monday at 10 o'clock. So, yeah, it's a regular podcast with the Big Six teams, so-called Big Six teams in England. A few West Ham fans and Leicester fans are trying to bang on the door, but we're not letting them in. No, it's a great podcast. Really good chemistry. Nice chat, nice banter, no idiots on it. And, yeah, we're trying to keep it real, mate. But, no, I appreciate you having me on. Anytime. Like I say, enjoy it. And yeah, let's hope Man City can continue, mate.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys like this, you guys are always free to follow me, Joel BB I will be posting this on my YouTube channel, Joel Lefebvre, as well. Steve, thanks for this. Look forward to doing it again in the future.
I've got my YouTube channel. I've got a few subscribers, but I'm not at the minute. I just not got the time to do it. But I'm learning, and people are teaching me how to do it. So as soon as I get up and running on there, then I'll return the favour and you can come on my YouTube and we'll make sure all the City fans on there jump on and follow you, yeah?
Happy to do that. Sounds awesome.
Brilliant, mate. Have a great day.
You too, Steve. Take care.
Bye, mate. Bye.